Everybody, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, thanks for stopping by. Check out the video. Let's see, today I have a little project, and it is a minor project, but it's related to my pool, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So the water level in my pool is down pretty significantly. Now, I don't think I have a leak in the main plumbing that's underground or anything like that, or even my skimmer or anything of that nature. I think I've identified the source of my leak. Also, we haven't had any measurable rain where I'm at since September. So there's some of this is evaporation, not all of that is from a leak, but I'll show you what I think I need to deal with in order to solve this issue and stop what leak I do have. All right, so we're over here at my pool equipment, and I have a leak right underneath here. And it's a fairly decent one. I mean, it's enough that it's running down the side of my sand filter, and the pad that all of this is sitting on is really damp and so forth. I also think I have a slight leak where the cap on my my pool pump screws down, but that's easy enough. I think I just need to lubricate the rubber gasket that's on that, which I'm going to do. But the main thing is I'm going to need to do a little plumbing here. So since I have a leak here, this has all got to come out, and I'm going to have to redo some of this plumbing, and that's going to be our project for today. So let me gather up my things, and we'll get started on this. Alright, so I'm in my garage here, where all the magic happens. So I need to gather up, I guess, a couple of tools. Nothing major. Let's see, we'll get some of these. I might need those, not real sure. I think for sure I'll need a tape measure. Maybe a box cutter, so as I'm cutting some PVC pipe, there may be some burrs and things that I need. Or I could even use a file. I'll grab that just in case. Let's see. That should work. And let's see, what are some of the other supplies we're going to need? We're going to need, well, I mentioned I was, besides fixing the actual plumbing piece and redoing that I needed to take that cap off the pool pump and lubricate the gasket. So good old Vaseline will take care of that. And I need to gather up a few plumbing parts. Now, when you own a pool and you're a DIYer, you tend to amass various pieces and parts and things. So now I've kind of looked this over earlier, and I know that I'm going to need a coupling. And this is 1.5 inch line, by the way. Let's see. The way I'm going to redo this, I'm going to need a couple of elbows. So let me set you down for a second, and I'll dig through this and find everything. Okay, so I did dig through a couple of elbows. I know that I'm going to need. And of course I need some 1.5 inch PVC Schedule 40 pipe, which I believe I have a few sections of that. So let me go gather that up. All right, over here in the corner of my garage, if I'm not mistaken, I have, oh yes, there we go. There's one piece. I even have a shorter piece in here somewhere. Or maybe I don't. Oh, I see it. There we go. All right, that's going to definitely be enough of that. And let's see. I think rather than using a power saw to cut this, I think I'll just use a hacksaw. That works pretty good. Oh, what else we're going to need? Some PVC glue and primer. I have that, and we're going to need some pipe tape for anything that's threaded. So let me see if I can get this out one-handed. This is my plumbing parts accessory stash. All right. Okay, so we have some pipe tape. You know, I also have some pipe thread sealant, and I believe this is good for both plastic and metal pipe. Let's see what this says. Oops. Let's turn it right side up. Maybe it says on the front. Oh yeah, metal and plastics. Okay, so I'll get that too. I think maybe I'll use or only need one or the other. I'll figure out exactly once I'm good to go there. All right, so I think that's all the parts and tools and things that I'm going to need. So let me find something to toss this in, and then we'll head outside and we'll get started. Okay, so I have my bucket with all my junk in it. So we'll head back out here. Okay, so I guess the first thing we'll do is turn off the pool pump. All right, so we got that turned off. And the next thing we need to do, let me release the, here, just pop this loose. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is make my first cut here, because I think I can leave this piece, and I can probably resalvage this. If I cut this first, then I can get that out of the way. I can get this piece plumbed in. Anyway, you'll see what I'm doing here. I got to make sure that when I cut this piece that I cut it the right length. So I want to do that after I've actually put in the new vertical piece here, and then I'll dry fit all this, and then the elbow in this direction. Then I can determine with an elbow here how much I need to cut this back. I will still be taking this out because we need to redo the sealant on these threads here, because that's where it's leaking, and that's probably my fault from a past repair. I get expansion and contraction in this as seasons changed, and that's when I've noticed this leak starting as the weather has cooled and the water in the pool has gotten cooler because I don't heat it. I think that this has contracted and it's allowed for a leak. So let's get started with that. Okay, so we can move this out of the way. This needs to, well, for the moment, just going to tighten that up like that. And we're going to work on this vertical piece, getting this pieces dry fit in. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this and get a coupling fit, and then we'll put in new pieces from there over. Alright, so we'll just dry fit this like so. And I'm just going to temporarily reattach this piece. And now what I'm going to do is measure and do some figuring to see how I want to come up, and then 90 over and then 90 in again. The key thing being, where do I cut this piece? So let me get tape measure and start measuring. One of the things I'll do that's probably make it a little bit easier on me is I'll go ahead and dry fit a 90 on that, and I should be able to eyeball, just kind of hold this down here and eyeball this to get it level with this. All right, okay, let's see here. Let's go ahead and cut this to length. All right. Okay, let's get that piece. And again, we're just going to continue to dry fit these different pieces. So I'm just kind of eyeballing this, which should be okay actually to do. I'm going to initially cut this in place. All right. Okay, and we'll dry fit this piece. Oh yeah, it's going to work out perfect. And I just have to all right. Okay. Well, not the straightest cut, but certainly will do. Now let's go dry fit this in, see how that does. Perfect. So everything fits just exactly the way it's supposed to. So what I'm going to do now is take this apart. We're going to unscrew this piece, and I'm going to reattach this, basically this piece right here, but I'm going to make sure that it's sealed better than it was before. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a good brushing, make sure we got all these threads cleaned out really good. And actually what I found online said to use Teflon tape, which I have, and the paste. So we're going to use both. Alright, so let's get some Teflon tape, because this is going to be the first piece that we reattach. Now, anytime you're using Teflon tape on a threaded piece of anything, you want to wrap it clockwise, like I'm doing here. And I'm definitely going to use more than I used the last time. So let's get, well, that's just about what I wanted. So, and I just ran out, at least on that piece. That should be enough, coupled with our pipe thread sealant. So we'll, well, that's not even been opened. We can remedy that real quick. All right. Just going to get that kind of spread on there. And I think between those two we should be good to go. So let's go put this in. Alright, so I've got Teflon tape and I've got pipe thread goop sealant, I should say, on there. So we're going to go ahead and get this screwed in. This should be a much better watertight connection than what I had before. Alright, I think that'll do. Gotta clean up that excess. Alright, in my prep, let's disassemble these pieces and kind of leave them in the order that they are going to go in. Well, let's see. This piece is really stuck on here. Dope. There we go. All right, as I was saying, all these pieces kind of laid out here. There we go. Now, let's get our glue and our primer. So we'll dry all these pieces here, moisture off of them. Now the first step is primer. So anywhere we're going to have a glued connection, we want both pieces to have primer. So in the case of these elbows, it's going to be on the inside with a nice generous amount. And then we'll do on the outside of these pieces. Okay, last primer bit. Okay, now the next thing we're going to do is move back over to the filter and pump area, and we're going to start to glue all this up. Okay, so let's go ahead and start this process. All right, let's get that on there like so. There we go. Oops. Don't want that on the inside, we want it on the outside. nice little spin. There we go. Now what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and attach this piece for the moment. This is just temporary. Just want to make sure I get all of this done correctly. Yeah, okay. Ahead and coat of glue side here. All right, do the same thing here. That nice little twist as we put it in there. Okay, get this nice liberal this piece one more time. And let's see, we'll just lay that right. No, let's just set it right here. And actually, before we get too carried away, make sure that we give this a good cleaning on top here. Because we want to make sure that this seals nice and tightly. We'll do the same thing here. We do have a rubber seal on the bottom. Let's make sure we don't have any debris on that. Looks pretty good. And actually, I'm going to put adhesive on both pieces just to make sure we're good to go there. All right. Okay, there we go. Okay. Now, that has got everything together. All I need to do is just tighten up at the bottom. And then we're going to let this sit for about 15 minutes. Make sure everything dries properly. And then we'll come back and we'll crank everything back up. While that's happening, I want to tend to this because the lid that goes on the pump here doesn't go on as smoothly. So I just want to give the surface here a little bit of cleaning, which is just nothing more than wiping it down with a rag. And then we'll take the other end of this. We'll wipe it down first, and then we're going to lube. Actually going to lube this. There's a rubber O-ring in there we're going to lube. All right. To make sure we're getting that rubber seal nice and clean. I think that's good. Let's put a little Vaseline on that. All right. So I'm just going to take a little Vaseline. I'm just going to get on my fingers here. I think that is probably good there. Just clean out my basket here. Okay. Put that back in place. Now this should go on. Oh yeah, That's much better fit. So, all right, so there we go. So we've got everything completed. So we'll just give this about 10 more minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll fire it up and make sure we still have prime on our pump. And we'll give it a test and see if we have any leaks. So let's go ahead and crank this bad boy up. And let's see if we have to prime this thing or not. Yeah, folks, precinct. Slowly straight. There we go. And it'll take a little bit to get the air out of the system. So anyway, so we'll let's look at our connections here. Looks good. Good. No leaks, so I think we can call that good to go. So there we go. Just a simple DIY pool plumbing maintenance job, sorting out a little bit of a leak. Easy, not hard to do at all. So hopefully that will help in some way if you have a pool and you feel up to the challenge of fixing leaking piping. So with that said, I hope everybody has a great day, great rest of your week, and we'll see you again on the next video.